I had a feeling this was going to be difficult, especially when I watched the reactions of these horned and winged creatures as I calmly approached them with my new Syr unit alongside me. They all backed away, some further than others.
"Not another step, Invader,"
one of them barked. His horns were intimidatingly large and jagged, and branched, which made me wonder if they were actually antlers. His height was impressive, almost exceeding the one of my leaders. I respected his wish, but I crossed my arms questioningly.
"So you know about us?" "Rumors have spread, yes,"
said the large Permatian.
"But they weren't rumors, now were they?"
said a female who was equally large, though she was a lighter green, and her horns were smoother and curvier.
"I told you those stories were real, Gov,"
whispered a very tiny blue one no larger than a Syr unit. The one apparently by the name of Guff, he too was tiny. He did not cower or hide, but his eyes were quite wide as they watched me, and his mouth was agape. The little one was just petrified, I assumed. No matter.
"Silence, please, people of Permata,"
I called over the growing voices beginning to protest in panic.
"I'm here to make an offer. Who's your leader?"
"Who's asking, Erkin?"
spat the first Permatian who had spoken, or rather yelled at me.
"Me, sir,"
I said, tilting my head up importantly.
"And Almighty Tallest Red and Purple. I've been sent to claim your planet."
"You are what they call an invader, is that right?"
"That is correct. I am prepared to invade the planets of those who we're at war with. Though this isn't an invasion, I can warn you that you may fall victim to one if you deny me."
"That already makes this an invasion. You're threatening us."
"I'm sorry you see it that way, sir."
The large Permatian took a big step forward, baring his teeth.
"Zarzan to you, Erkin scum. You're in no position to call me sir."
"Us Erkins can dominate the planet as peacefully as Erkinly possible,"
I continued.
"Make your compliance to Decree Permata as Erkin property, and you'll be on our good side. Think of it as being protected."
Zarzan scoffed.
"You think I'm a fool?"
I kept eye contact with him.
"Only if you refuse, sir. We're a powerful race, don't you know? Ever since the great generation of our almighty tallest Marbog. He knew how to take control when things were bleak for the Erkins. Now we are naturally the superior race. We are taking note of who will accept that and submit to our rule, and reporting who defies us or challenges us. We are doing this for every planet on our radar, only for the protection of the Erkin race and for the good of the Erkin race in general. Eros, present the forms."
My new little Syr unit immediately obeyed, bright blue flames igniting from his feet as he levitated himself to Zarzan's level to hand him a thin stack of pink paper. With that, I continued.
"You'll be required to describe how your planet and species function by filling these out. The 3 blank sheets are reserved for additional knowledge you may want to generously provide. Will you be generous with us, Zarzan, so I can be generous with you?"
Zarzan had scrolled through the papers as I spoke. He scowled when I finished. The papers were crushed in one of his fists.
"You menacing bug-eyed creatures are as arrogant as they say. No, I will not have Permata be tainted by Erkin scum."
I pointed upwards in gesture.
"Tainted is not the word you should use. You have this all wrong. Your planet will be enhanced by the touch of the Erkins, as will the rest of the universe when we execute all threats."
Zarzan raised a brow.
"If threats are what you're after, why don't you execute yourselves?"
I rolled my eyes, sighed, then bowed my head patiently.
"I understand that this is sudden and a big decision to make. I don't want anyone harmed or destroyed, and I know you don't either, Zarzan. I will give you time to think about this and discuss it with your people."
"I've already made my decision, Erkin Invader."
"I have a name, you know. The next time we meet, you may call me Syss."
"There shouldn't be a next time. You are not welcome here. Stop acting as if you are. Permata will never belong to you."
"Disaster will strike when the tallest hear of this," Eros said, though not angrily.
The tiny Permatian called Guff suddenly broke into screams of delight. It was then I realized the look he had given me before was one of amazement. He leaped and spun in the air with his little fairy wings beating rapidly to keep him airborne.
The robot dogs too! You guys are so cool! I can't believe you're a real-life Urkin and a real-life robot!
Silence, Guff!
Zarzan scolded, appalled.
Permata being an Urkin planet! Dad, that's a dream come true!
What have I told you about Urkins, Guff? Why don't you ever understand?
Guff lowered himself to the dirt floor and shrugged.
Well, we never met a real-life Urkin before, and this one isn't a monster. But, I mean, Dad, we can team with the Urkins!
He ran in several tight circles and tumbled over himself as a result. Zarzan shook his head at the sky, his expression pained.
You're too blessed with innocence. Even seeing Urkin invasions is a good thing.
This isn't an invasion, Syss said!
Guff said, still with a gleeful smile.
Ew, he said its name!
A half-grown Permatian cried with a voice crack.
I'm going to be sick,
said another.
Syss is a nice name!
Guff exclaimed with another jump.
Guff, enough!
Pleaded the first female who had spoken.
You're embarrassing us. How dare you glorify these sick creatures?
Guff, not fazed in the slightest, smiled and kindly assured.
She's fine. She's not sick, Mama. Her heart is good. I can feel it.
The mother, whose name I had yet to know, furrowed her brow.
You mean with your diamond? Yeah, I think so.
Guff looked down at his chest, where a little yellow gem appeared to be implanted. All the Permatians had a diamond in their chest. I wondered if that was natural for them, if that was how they were born. The mother drew close to her son and gave him a firm stare.
We can sense the heart of no other creature other than a Permatian, Guff. We've told you that. And you haven't had your first glow yet. What you're doing now is jumping to silly conclusions coming from your silly imagination. To your geode shell now!
With his smile only half gone, Guff toddled away from the scene. I blinked and shared a glance with Eros as I murmured to him, "First glow? Geode shell?" Hearing me, Zarzan snapped,
None of your business, Urkin.
"Actually,
Away with you. This discussion is over.
for now," I thought with a slight glare. Then I motioned for Eros to walk back with me, as if we would return to our idle ship and depart. But we weren't going to. Urkins do not give up easily. These Permatian creatures would know this if they truly knew enough about us. I spoke again when Eros and I were out of sight. That went well as I expected. Did you catch that, Eros? The Permatians glow, and they feel each other's hearts? That's something I would like to make sense of.
I can do it for you!
A familiar young voice offered loudly. Eros was somehow not as startled as I was. He most likely sensed the little one coming many moments ago. I recoiled with a short cry, and I sputtered at Guff flying around us.
What? You! What are you—
Wait! I can show you! I can do it!
The green and yellow child dropped to his feet right in front of me, holding his hands out in eager presentation before balling them. He squeezed his eyes shut and stood up straight, grunting in effort.
Do what?
I asked exasperatedly, still trying to process how and why this runt of a creature had snuck up on me.
Do what? Glow?
Yeah!
Guff looked at me again with those big happy eyes, and that big happy smile, and replied with his big happy voice. Your parental unit says you can't, I reminded.
Yeah.
Guff said, conversationally instead of sadly.
I'm a baby. I'm too baby. I'm 5 days old. How old are you?
He began buzzing around me without giving me a chance to answer any of his rapid-fire questions. Eros and I continued walking, and he followed.
How were you born? Our grown-ups use heart diamonds to make babies. But you don't have a heart diamond. Look at mine! My mama says I'll start doing magical glowy stuff with it when I grow up too. See it? How good can you see? Your eyes are so crazy. Can I touch them? What does everything look like? Can you see good? I really like your eyes. I like what you look like. But my mama says Urkins are hideous. And my dad says you're scum. What's scum? Why are they so scared of you?
I halted and looked up at the bright-eyed, upside-down face inches away from my forehead. Seeing him this close,
I noticed the sclerae around his green irises were a very faint periwinkle. Why are you not?
'Cause you're nice.
Did you not hear me back there?
Uh-huh. Dominate the planet as peacefully as Erkinly possible. I heard.
Your people have to trust me and let me first. Especially your leader.
I trust you. I trust you. And I like you so much.
So I've gathered. I proceeded to walk, as did Eros a second after. Guff followed, of course, his wing beats still faster than his blinks.
Where are you going, sissy?
I looked back to him and scowled.
Sassy?
Guff tried, realizing he had said my name wrong. Syss, I corrected. Guff grunted in surprise, throwing himself higher.
Why did I forget? That's like sister. Ah, you know how cool that would be? What if you were my big sister? We would snuggle at bedtime.
Erkins don't sleep, I said in an impatient monotone.
What?
Guff squealed dramatically.
What happens if you get sleepy?
We don't, I muttered simply. I wondered if it would be difficult to keep this little one from boarding himself onto my ship when we got to it. I imagined him driving it only to crash it in 10 seconds flat. Guff spun in the air once more. Every time he moved like this, he would lurch and wobble unsteadily. I assumed this was how the Permatian infants flew at this age. They could do it, but not expertly.
You stay awake forever? That's so bonkers. I love Erkins.
I love Erkins. That was my first time hearing this. This was my first time meeting a creature so fascinated with Erkins, excited about Erkins, so unafraid of Erkins that he was following one by himself. But he needed to stop following me. I waved my fingers at him in a shooing motion. Run along, child. Or fly, whatever. Guff ignored the command.
Well, if you were my sister, you could still... Ooh, give me piggyback rides.
What back rides? Oh! My inquiry ended with a choked grunt when the little monster slammed onto my back. I stumbled, but managed to not get knocked off my feet. For a brief moment I thought, the innocence was an act all along. Guff wanted to catch me off guard and attack. Then came a feeling so strange and painful. Nerves in my head, back, and chest stung in agony, just as I felt something attached to my spine jolt out of place and threaten to slide out completely. I knew what that feeling was. Reflexively, I thrashed around to fling off the child. I sent him rolling to the ground in somersaults, though I myself had collapsed in the process. The small burst of energy from the pack repositioning itself to its rightful place soothed the pain, but I was still momentarily dazed, trapped on my hands and knees like a weakling. In my half-starry vision, I saw Eros with his blank expression finally broken away and replaced with a defensive one as he placed himself in between me and Guff, seeming prepared to block any further attacks. But the tiny Permatian on the ground looked genuinely startled and confused, as if he hadn't meant to harm me at all. He watched me recover. "Don't do that," I groaned breathlessly, slowly trying to stand up. Guff too stood up.
Did that hurt? What did I do?
You crossed the line, that's what you did.
I snapped.
Don't ever toy with my pack, little one. You could kill me that way.
Guff blinked in dismay.
Oh, pulling off that back thing can make you die?
It was then I realized I gave away vulnerable information when we were supposed to be the ones gathering vulnerable information. I was being a fool. I looked away with a glare.
Like our heart diamonds.
Guff stated. He straightened up and rubbed the little yellow diamond exposed on his chest.
Permatians can't live without these. Or those.
He pointed at 2 triangular diamonds in the distance. Colossal ones as big as mountains. The Permatians' village was in between them. I had seen these diamonds when I arrived. The tallest would definitely want to make something out of those. Thrones, perhaps. Why those? I asked.
Because...
Guff said in a knowing sing-song.
They give us light. We need light just like how we need food and air and stuff. We need light at all times, Dad and Mama said. Those big, huge diamonds, they're diamond mountains. In the day, the sun kind of, charges up the diamond mountains. And our geode shells, so that they can keep glowing even during dark.
What are geode shells? Now we were making the right kind of progress. I was the one getting answers now.
Our houses,
Guff said.
they got diamonds inside them too. My geode house has a very brightish, pretty blue. Do you want to see it?
I'm not welcome around here, you heard.
Oh yeah, my parents are grumpy sometimes. Do your parents get grumpy?
Urkins don't know their parents. This information wasn't vulnerable by much. If anything, it was a boast. Urkins are strong and independent at birth, while most species require years of getting to a point like that after birth. Guff gasped, loud and long.
What? How do you grow up?
We grow up just fine. Will you just go home? I snapped. Don't you need your parents?
Well, probably.
Guff admitted casually.
But not really. I can take care of myself like a baby, Yurkin.
I barked a laugh.
Is that right?
Maybe.
But aren't you more vulnerable without your glow?
Oh, that's no biggie. It's like a bonus. A power we get when we're old enough. Like, how it works, a Permatian can tell when another Permatian is lying. We can tell when another Permatian is light-starved. Oh, and the mountains and geodes can receive signals and send our heart diamonds any computery messages we get sent. I always wanted to get a message from Urkins, even though I wouldn't be able to feel it because I don't have my glowy power thingy yet. My first glow, like you heard Mama say.
I looked towards the Diamond Mountains, taking note of what Guff explained, and drinking in the gorgeous scenery. Permata is a very interesting planet, I said sincerely. Guff squealed and launched himself in the air yet again.
You like Permata?
That was a question too complicated to answer. I was not going to give little Guff the impression that I was becoming his friend. Your parents are going to get suspicious if you don't return to them, I said. I began to walk again, with Eros following suit.
I want to come with you guys.
Guff said, starting after us with his wings still carrying him. No, I told him. You've been helpful enough for a chatty little flying goblin pest. Guff blinked at my choice of words, then burst into a fit of giggles half a second later. He rolled a few times in the air over my head and clumsily fell to the ground in front of Eros, who simply walked around him. The happy little Permatian stayed there lying on his back with both paws over his belly. We didn't stop hearing his ticklish laughter until he was finally out of antenna shot. Somehow, I already knew that wasn't going to be the last time we heard from him.
Another refusal. What a surprise.
Almighty Tallest Purple said sarcastically. He and Tallest Red hung back rather lazily in their chairs, not even looking at me or Eros through the screen we had facing us.
Right then, we'll put them on the enemy list as well.
Red dismissively sing-songed. Purple raised a brow at Eros standing next to me.
You know, you really should have chosen a newer Syr unit like everyone else. You're going to need one if you're going to find out for yourself how this planet functions.
Not necessarily, I proudly explained. Interestingly enough, I got what we needed with barely any effort. I think the most important thing here are these giant diamonds the Permatians call Diamond Mountains. According to a Permatian child, light is a special energy for them that's as essential as breathing, and the Diamond Mountains provide them light during their nighttime. The Diamond Mountains collect that light from their sun during daytime.
What a weird concept.
Purple sneered.
So I guess if we ever need to destroy them, we just destroy one of those diamond thingies, right?
I was mildly disgusted by the idea of destroying the Permatians. I did mean it when I told Sarzan I did not want anyone harmed. But perhaps the Tallest were discussing this only to have the knowledge.
to be prepared if attacking Permata ever became necessary somehow, with all other options exhausted. The Tallists were not reckless. We were not fools.
Syss should check it out first,
Red said to Purple.
if she hasn't found out their defenses.
This was an unsaid question for me to answer.
I haven't,
I said.
I haven't approached these diamonds yet. I haven't seen them up close.
Go do that.
Red ordered.
If they shoot lasers or something, we better know.
Purple glared in annoyance at his partner and flailed a hand in gesture.
What's with you and the...
If there were lasers, don't you think those lasers would have shot down Invader Syss when she flew down there?
I hid a humorous smile. I admired these two for sometimes being entertaining without trying.
We still need to know what happens if we get close to them.
Red explained.
They don't sound ordinary.
You're scared of a pretty diamond?
Purple teased. Red furrowed his brow.
Whatever, what he said.
Purple begrudgingly agreed, crossing his arms and looking away.
Just be quick about it.
Red added.
We have a universe to overcome. Do you have any idea how big the universe is? Because we don't, and that's saying a lot. We're the best.
I understand,
I said. I saluted.
Invader Syss signing off.
The screen minimized, then vanished into my round little communicator, which I then put away. I had my ship parked next to one of Permata's calm bodies of water. This area was miles away from those diamond mountains. It was currently Permata's nighttime, and not only did I prefer the darkness, the permatians clearly could not travel into darkness for long periods of time. I couldn't think of any good reason why they would travel this far anyway. I didn't feel the need to worry about any confrontations or conflict. I could only hope there weren't any other creatures around here that I didn't know of, though I knew Eros would be able to find them before they found us. I considered building a base here, though I didn't know how long I would be staying on this planet.
Have you found anything else that little Guff didn't mention yet, Eros?
I inquired.
The Permatians have a highly organic lifestyle.
Eros informed.
This planet is pure, no pollution. This light energy of theirs is foreign, however. Difficult to read.
Any other living beings around us?
Yes, sir. In our range, there is a small species 2 feet below this surface.
I looked down, recoiled, and raised a foot.
They do not appear to be a threat.
Eros said calmly.
They remain in a sleep-like state. The layer of ground encrusting them shows no disturbance. No sign that they have changed position in roughly a year.
Sounds to me like they're dead.
They are alive, sir.
I uncomfortably began to take wide, slow steps away from the water and towards the field of grass behind it, presuming these underground creatures were only staying where the surface was clear.
None there, sir.
Eros said 28 steps later.
Their only location is near the beach.
I was correct then. I laid down, gazing in satisfaction at the view above. Eros joined me, letting himself fall on his back beside me. The darker the dark, the brighter the stars and galaxies were, and it was magnificent. I deeply inhaled Permata's fresh air. Just look at that, I said to Eros, without looking away from that black and rainbow sky, speckled with white and rainbow stars. It's inviting, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, sir.
My little sir replied. And it will be ours soon, I said. Everything. I always loved those little stars. They were like treasures I could see but could never reach. I then began to wonder if there were any treasures in life that I could not see but were in my reach.
All right.
I began to recap as we flew across Permata's atmosphere.
The Tallest want us to check this out, this unusual power source, and they want us to be careful.
Even though they were mainly worried about a surprise attack against the Armada, I was honored by the thought of the Tallest watching out for my safety too.
I'm going to test Red's theory,
I continued.
Before we get in close proximity, we need to provoke the defense mechanism, if there is one. I don't want to risk destroying the diamond, though, or drawing attention. What kind of threat would be harmless yet still enough? Alarming yet still expected of?
Sir,
Eros touched my arm, then pointed to where he was looking. From a distance, an asteroid no smaller than my ship was barreling in our direction. On alert, I prepared to dodge it, but as it got closer, I saw that we were not in its path, and I relaxed slightly. It was heading for one of the diamonds. Diamonds were known to be incredibly durable. I did not expect these to be any less, but was aware that something else could very well happen. I reversed my ship. There was no impact. The diamond took no damage. There was something invisible around it, but its surface became visible for 1 second. It glowed and rippled as the asteroid came in contact with it and exploded into small divided fragments. There it is, I said to Eros in amazement. It's true. There's a force field. But formed by the diamonds themselves? Or formed by their light source, their sun? And how far does the shield reach? All of Permata? And how often? At all times? Can you get any of this, Eros?
negative, sir.
The little sir said after straining his eyes. Then, after a moment, he made a comment that caught me by surprise.
Perhaps this mission is more suited for the latest upgraded Sir unit. Forgive me, sir.
I think the newer sirs can still get confused, Eros. And I forbid you to tell me that you shouldn't be my sir. We just got started.
Understood, sir.
Come on. Let's get a better look at these things on foot. I parked my ship in a safe spot next to one of the diamonds. The rocky dirt slope we were met with was 1 mile long. The bottom of the diamond was enveloped by this slope. It was a crater. I was cringing from how bright the light was from the base of the slope. It was so powerful, I could even hear it. I was listening to this thing glow. I was listening to light.
What is the plan?
Eros inquired from behind. I'm going to get closer. I brought out my pack legs and used them to lift myself off the ground and climb the hill with ease.
Sir.
I got it. Save your fuel. I got it. I could barely make it 1/4 of the way. The light was overwhelming. I had my arm over my face, and my eyes were refusing to reopen. And the closer I got, the stronger and uncanny pressure around me became. Was this light not only audible, but touchable too? It was really able to convey to 3 senses? I quickly began to wonder if the Diamond Mountains were sentient. Maybe the pressure I felt was a warning. I was finding it difficult to continue onward, so I stopped and surrendered. I lowered myself back to the ground, half intentionally in a bow. I didn't withdraw my pack legs yet. I wanted to show respect, but my reflexes were telling me I still needed them for some kind of support. I wasn't sure why. I struggled to raise my head. My eyelids were still forcing themselves to stay tightly shut. I was almost sure I would go blind if I fought to look ahead.
Are you alive?
I wasn't sure what I was expecting. I couldn't imagine the diamond having a voice. If it responded, how would it? It let me come this far, without repelling me like it did that asteroid. Maybe threats had to be obvious and direct.
Give me a sign!
I called.
I wish to know of your powers. If you are an aware entity that can understand my words, answer back. If you are able to communicate, I humbly ask that you make that known to me and my people.
I did get a reaction, but not the one I had in mind. It was a tiny voice emitting from far behind me, giggling hysterically. I was familiar with it. It belonged to someone I wanted to borrow once again, so I wasn't entirely bothered. The little thing was too brave, though, mocking a superior being such as myself. I made my way back down to the base of the mountain, where I found Eros still standing, but now with little Guff beside him, in a laughing fit just like the one we left him in a couple of hours ago. He was on his back, his wings beating against the dirt. Eros watched him blankly, while I watched him with narrowed eyes, taking umbrage. Guff sat up when I approached. He looked up to me, unfazed by my sour expression.
The Diamond Mountains aren't alive.
He snorted.
I thought they were alive too, sis. Don't feel bad.
Are you alone? I asked.
Yeah, well, no. My friends are over there.
Guff pointed to a boulder. 2 other permatians his age, the blue one I'd seen before and an orange one, were peeking out from behind, looking frightened by my presence.
We always come to play here. On the other side, though. We came around because we heard your flying thing.
My ship?
Yeah, that. And then we saw you going up that hill like a crazy head. Mama says never to go that close to Diamond Mountains. We could get really dizzy and sick. It looked like you were dizzy too, even though you're not a Permatian.
Not dizzy, It just felt very strange. Guff, tell me more about these things.
More? Hey, Truft! Do you know more? She's evil, Guff!
The blue child was too panicked to listen to his braver friend. I saw it destroy an asteroid somehow, I told Guff.
It was asteroid!
Guff exclaimed, jumping to the air where he then stayed with the help of his hyperactive wings. The pun was clever, but not something that could help me.
Listen,
I barked.
there's a shield. Does the diamond create it or your son?
Guff scrunched up his face and looked around.
Both? I mean, yeah, both. The diamond makes the shield, but all the diamond's powers come from the sun. So really, it came from the sun.
The Diamond Mountains are completely dependent on your sun, then.
Yep.
And those powers would die if the sun wasn't there to feed its light to the Diamond Mountains?
Yeah, we would be totally doomed.
Guff smiled despite the nature of his statement.
Why can't anyone get close?
I inquired.
What was I feeling up there?
Well, I don't know. That's just how it is. Too powerful, so it's dangerous. There was this one time, me and my friends were trying to see who could go the furthest. Mama said we could have died from overcharge if we kept going up. So yeah, we can die from too much light too. We're fine if we don't go up the hill. Are you okay, sis? You went up really high. Way higher than us. And what are those things on your back? I wish I had those to walk with.
I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
Guff, how often do your parents expect you home?
Not a bunch, but they still gotta give me food and stuff, so I go home still.
I see. I exchanged glances with Eros. You're useful, little one. Would you like to strike a deal? Guff bit his lower lip and curled all 4 limbs against himself in excitement and honor, his pupils gleaming with the help of the Diamond Mountain's light. He nodded. And can you keep a secret? I added, leaning in. Guff nodded again, grinning bigger. Let's make this our secret meeting spot, I whispered, smiling back. You are the only Permatian in the world who wants to assist me. Ask your parents questions. Pass the answers to me, and I'll let you ride in the ship with us when it's called for. As I expected, Guff squealed in response to my offer.
What is it, Guff?
Cried the second child behind the boulder, the orange one I hadn't heard speak until now. Guff dropped to the ground, rubbing his hands together awkwardly.
Oh, it's a secret, Fertly.
You children better not spit a word of this either.
I warned the ones called Fertly and Truft.
We don't want to find out what happens if you do.
The baby creatures whimpered. That sounded like a threat. I registered too late.
You're grown-ups,
I clarified.
They'll be angry. They'll start a war that we don't need. Be smart. Be silent.
The 2 children nodded frantically before hiding their heads behind their rock.
Can I ride with you now?
Guff pleaded, hopping in place.
I want to tell you about something I'm so excited about. It's at the beach.
Very well, I said curiously. Come along. Guff flipped into the air with another squeal before unsteadily flying towards the ship, his eager hands outstretched. This little one was a traitor to his own kind, his own planet,
but he didn't care, because he simply didn't see it that way. I began to realize it wasn't that he was fearless. To him, there was hardly anything to fear in the first place. I was convinced that Guff may have been the purest creature I would ever meet in my life.
Come on!
Guff called. He was flying in circles around the ship.
Just a moment! Wait there!
I told him. Then I whispered to Eros. Make sure he does. Watch my back. Eros saluted me and turned to face the child, monitoring him. As quickly as I could, I brought out my communicator. Then I made a call.
Invader Syss reporting in.
I said with a quick salute when I found the faces of my tallest.
Where are you?
Tallest Purple craned his neck and narrowed his eyes.
It's so bright back there, we can barely see you.
Apologies, my tallest. That's the thing you asked me to get a closer look at. I got as close as I could.
Did it do anything?
Red asked slowly.
There's a shield that blocks anything that threatens to harm it. An asteroid touched it. It blew to bits right in front of me.
Did you figure out how to disable it?
I hesitated.
Yes.
Red drummed his fingers together.
Well done, soldier. Tell us.
Do you... Are you going to...
I cursed myself internally. The tallest had just praised me, and I was ruining that by stumbling over my words like a bumbling idiot. I shook my head.
Like I said before, the Diamond Mountains have a source of their own. Their star, the sun, it gives them the energy.
Why was I nervous? I was doing exactly what I came here for, and I was succeeding.
So if an eclipse or something were to happen, the shield would vanish, right?
Affirmative.
That's so easy!
Purple cheered.
All we have to do is blow up that sun! No.
Red muttered. Purple crossed his arms defensively.
We make an eclipse.
Red said.
Block the sun. Maybe we can get those planet-napping guys to form an outer casing around Permata.
You're planning an attack? I said softly, and the worry in my tone was painfully obvious.
Not with you there.
Red reassured in a curt sing-song.
No, I mean, not yet. Please don't.
I gulped down my panic.
There's more to discover here that I think we should know about. And I think I can still charm the permatians somehow while I'm at it. Could you grant us more time?
Red and Purple exchanged suspicious glances before looking back to me.
Hurry up,
Red said with emphasis.
Will do, my tallest,
I said, saluting again.
The wait will be worth it, I can assure you. Invader Syss signing off.
It wasn't until I hung up when I realized I had been holding most of my breath. I let it go.
Halt!
Eros commanded, startling me terribly.
What are you doing? What's that?
Guff inquired curiously from behind. His wing beats tickled my antennae, and I felt his hands place themselves on the top of my head. He didn't seem to know what halt meant. He was asking about my communicator.
Nothing for you to toy with,
I said irritably. Eros flew to Guff to get a hold of him, forcing him away from me. They slowly headed for the ship, as did I. Guff stopped his wings, knowing there was no need to use them while being carried, which he didn't defy. He tilted his head at me.
Are you okay? Let's get away from here now. I can't believe you went so high. That was so bonkers.
We're going, I said. Point the way, little Guff.